What's going on? Welcome to the Farzy Show, presented by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. Coming to you from the Steven Singer Studios. I think Kyle Schwarber's dream is just to have pitchers surrender to him. Just stop pitching. Just stop pitching to him. Just, you know what? You know how you can just like wave the four fingers and you get to an intentional walk? Just put your finger in the air and start twirling it around pitchers because it's a home run when Kyle Schwarber steps to the plate. 25 on the year. Two of them just last night. Holy Stromboli. That man is belting baseballs. If you didn't see it, the Washington Nationals, they basically surrendered to Kyle Schwarber, where they said they tweeted out during the game last night, and shout out to my friend Aaron Telaznik, who has been on this show, by the way, who tweeted me. I didn't see it originally, but the Washington Nationals put it up just saying, Kyle, it's not June anymore. And then I think the next tweet, the second home run was, bro. You might as well surrender for Kyle Schwarber. Bryce Harper says he's going to be back this season, fully expecting him to come back, but it's always nice to hear him speaking so optimistically. We'll hear from him a little bit later in the show. 76ers Summer League took place last night. We'll go through all the games. That's right. I was flipping back and forth from watching the Phillies to Sixers Summer League, Utah Summer League, to see what Jaden Springer was looking like. And then I was also making sure I was keeping up on the box score and the score overall regarding the Atlanta Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals. As now, thanks to the Cardinals losing, which also means thanks to the Braves winning, and the Phillies winning last night, the Phillies now occupy a wild card spot in the National League. They are in the playoffs right now. If the season ended today, the Phillies would be a wild card team along with the St. Louis Cardinals. So that's where we are right now in life, folks, and it feels pretty damn good to be there because now the Phillies, with that win last night, improved to 5-3 without Bryce Harper. It certainly helps that Kyle Schwarber has kept it going. It certainly helps that you have had guys like JT Realmuto start to come around in the lineup. Nick Castellanos had a couple of base knocks for you and a couple of ribbies as well. And Darick Hall just missed his fourth home run in the big leagues on what ended up being a long double to dead center field. Some say Castellanos shouldn't have worried about tagging up. I think it was a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation where you had to play it safe because God forbid that ball actually gets caught by Robles in the center field there, and then he gets doubled up. He wouldn't hear the end of it. They ended up scoring runs. He ended up scoring in the inning anyway, so no harm, no foul, I guess. But still, I thought it was a damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation. But Darick Hall comes up with 3 hits. Nick Castellanos, like I said, a couple of base knocks. Those guys starting to get hot for you is only a phenomenal thing in the absence of Bryce Harper from this lineup. And I still can't believe this. Yesterday, I was talking about what you might be able to get from Christopher Sanchez, the guy who started out for you yesterday. He had been down to the minors, had been back in the majors, down to the minors, back in the majors this year. And last night, if you heard it earlier in the ballgame, birthday boy himself, Tom McCarthy, said the Phillies are hoping to get 5 innings from Christopher Sanchez. So what did Christopher Sanchez give you last night? And mind you, his longest outing as a big league ball player at a point this year was, I believe, 2 1/3 innings pitched. 5 scoreless, allowing 2 hits, and only issuing 2 walks in last night's game. That is the perfect spot start, as far as I'm concerned, for somebody getting another shot at the major league level with Ranger Suarez, who is starting to find his way a little bit. It's been good to see him. It was good to see him start to come around a little bit, but to see Christopher Sanchez come up last night and do what he did was great. And he wasn't spectacular when it came to hitting his spots. He was whatever. He got the job done, which is all you can ask of a guy making a spot start for you in your rotation. As far as the lineup goes last night, the bats are alive and well. And I know the old cliche gets said every single time when you reference Charlie Manuel and you're waiting for hitting season and all that. It's been hitting season for Kyle Schwarber for a long time. Rhys Hoskins has certainly been able to prolong his hitting season as well. And last night to see Castellanos, see Hall, see Realmuto, Alec Boehm, Bryson Stott, all those guys really contribute in the lineup was a sight for sore eyes in this game. Phillies doing exactly what they should be doing against a much lesser team like the Washington Nationals. So that was great to see. And by the way, first 0 for 5, really 0 for for Rhys Hoskins, which seems like in a very long time. Also, Mark Appel got out there, which was nice as well to see him get some more innings under his belt. Ended up getting the final 2 innings of this game, so the final 6 out of the game was great to see for Mark Appel as well. I'm excited, and I didn't think I would be at this point without Bryce Harper. Now that you've played 8 games without him, I didn't think I'd be at this point. But the Phillies, being as deep as they are, realizing what was at stake. And when we had Garrett Stubbs on last week, one of the things he talked about was how there was really nothing said in the locker room and nothing said in the clubhouse after Bryce Harper went down. Everybody realized that for everybody else's responsibility in this lineup, the stakes just got a hell of a lot higher. And then you think about the guys whose stakes are at the highest. Guys like Darick Hall that's looking for his big league shot, looking to stay in the majors after a guy like Bryce Harper does come back. You look at a guy like Christopher Sanchez last night. You look at guys like Bryson Stott looking to solidify himself in this lineup. Jean Segura was fielding grounders last night. We'll see when he's able to return to the lineup. Didi Gregorius being out after the injection. Like, you see these guys trying to step up like Stott, like Hall. And last night, that's exactly what you got. You saw those guys step up and try to solidify themselves as big league ball players. And without Bryce Harper, you need everybody clicking. You need all the cylinders going. And last night, to the tune of an 11-0 win, using some backups, if you will, it tremendously helped the Phillies and propelled them into a playoff spot right now. 8 games without Bryce Harper, and the Phillies are very much keeping it competitive, and not only keeping it competitive, getting better as far as the standings go. And then after this series, hopefully they sweep it. Hopefully, hey, look, let's get ahead of ourselves for just a second. Hopefully they sweep this. Hopefully they take it to the next level. Nola's on the bump tonight. We'll see how that goes. And then after this, you got the Cardinals again. And we can see how that's going to play out in the not-too-distant future when it comes to how this Phillies team is playing overall. It's been a blast seeing these guys kind of figure it out and really not miss a beat. 5-3 while facing some tough. Like, you face an opponent like the Braves, I feel like you always know that you're going to get your money's worth in those series as far as the competitiveness goes. You're going to be facing a team that's obviously up to play you, and it's always going to be a battle in your own division when it comes to teams like the Braves, when it comes to teams like the Mets. You got to beat up on the teams that you're supposed to beat up on. The Marlins being one of them. Winning that series, thanks to Garrett Stubbs' home run, winning that series was a big part of that. Beating up on the Washington Nationals, it now feels like the team that everybody else in the division is just going to be beating up on throughout this season. And as you look at through different divisions in baseball, when you talk about these teams that you're supposed to win games against, when you talk about these teams you're supposed to be able to just kind of push aside each time you face them, in division games, when it comes down to that one particular team, the Nationals seem to be that team in the NL East. That's who's going to win the NL East, or who's at least going to come out of the NL East to make it into the playoffs. Well, it looks like the team that's going to beat the Washington Nationals. That's the team that's going to do it. Now, the Mets are still pretty incredible up there in New York. Got to give them credit for that. I'm really hoping that second half plunge is waiting for them. I just don't see it. They're just playing too good of baseball right now. And the fact that they're going to get DeGrom back, who was popping the minute 100 miles per hour again in some rehab starts. Yeah, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. Scherzer as well. Good times. Good times. But as far as this Phillies team goes, they just got to take care of their own business. And right now, the best way they could possibly do that is just winning this series with the Nationals, possibly sweeping it. Let's get crazy. And then going on to face the St. Louis Cardinals and handle their business there. I'll just put it this way. Bottom line, very excited to see what the future holds for the Phillies this year. And the fact that they're in this spot right now just makes you feel great. And the fact that they were to crawl into it without Bryce Harper in the lineup. Without further ado, let's hear from Bryce Harper. Last night, he addressed the media. Now, NBC Sports Philadelphia, want to give them their full credit, kept their logo in here. They put this little smash together with Bryce Harper answering questions about his broken thumb and seeing how long it's going to take for him to come back.
I'll be back. Yeah, I don't right now, but I'll be back. I don't want to hope or think about anything. I just want to, go day by day and be back when I can, whenever I feel healthy, whenever that is, to be able to help this team win. If we're in it, if we're out of it, I'm going to come back and play no matter what, just so I know that I can, go out there and play the game. I don't want that to be my last day playing, this year. that game in San Diego. So no matter what the outcome, I'm going to come back and I'll be playing. So, I can assure myself that I can go out there and play the game, at a high level that I want to.
That sounds great. The only thing I didn't like, yes, he'll be back, but the no matter what thing, as far as just solidifying himself to know that he could play and start next year, that was a little worrisome. Because that would mean that the Phillies would then fall out of it, and Bryce Harper was just being like, all right, let me just make sure I can start next year. That made me think into September, the wheels have fallen off the wagon, and they're nowhere near playoff contention. It's another September where we don't even have meaningful games, and the only way you can look at it as meaningful is if Bryce Harper is using September as a rehab stint just to make sure that he's going to be ready for the 2023 season. The only thing he said before last night's game, it's the only thing he said before last night's game that made me go, when he's like, oh, yeah, I'll be back. I'm like, all right, I'm going to get it back. Because right now I'm all optimistic. I'm all giddy. I'm all Phillied up. And then I was like, oh, wow. Wait, hold on a second. If it's at least just to make sure I can play. What? That made me think Phillies are terrible. But September is the only meaningfulness you're going to take away from September is that Bryce Harper is healthy for next year. And it made me think for the first time already, well, next year. It's not, I don't consider that what I can tell you guys all the time. Like I go to these dark places in my mind sometimes with sports. And that was one of them last night. I didn't think it was that the dark recesses, but it's definitely a dark spot. Definitely a dark spot. But I just love the idea that he said he was going to be back. And hopefully it'll be to help this team win and help them solidify a playoff spot as the season continues. But good to see the guys that needed to step up, and Bryce Harper's absence step up last night. So that was great. Tonight, like I said, Aaron Nola gets the start. We'll see how all that goes. Right now, take a look at the wildcard standings. The Braves are the best non-first place team in the National League. So they're in the number one wildcard spot. The San Diego Padres are right there. They're 3 games up in the last spot in the wild card. And then the Philadelphia Phillies and the Cardinals are even right now for that third and final wild card spot. The Phillies have obviously won 2 in a row, while the Cardinals have lost 3 in a row. They got another game coming up here with the Braves. 2 games actually coming up here with the Braves. It's a 4-game series. The Phillies have a 1/1000th of a percentage point, if I remember my 5th grade math correctly, the better win percentage than the Cardinals. They have 1 fewer loss and 1 fewer win. So that's where we're at right now. 531 versus 530. So Phillies back at it tonight with the Aaron Nola on the mound. So last night I'm watching a lot of baseball, following a lot of baseball, and I am flipping back and forth between that and the Sixers Summer League game. And our Versus question, and I'll get to it a little bit more when we read the advertisement for Versus Game Network and all that stuff. I'll put it to you like this. This is all about Jaden Springer. I know Paul Reed can play basketball. Like, I'll show you the stat sheet right now for the people watching the show. This is the Sixers Summer League box score from last night's loss to the Memphis Grizzlies. Sixers an opportunity to tie the game late, and Jaden Springer ended up turning the ball over. Look, I know Paul Reed could play. 20 points, 15 rebounds. He's a G League MVP. He should do just fine in a Summer League setting. Isaiah Joe, great to see him shoot 33% from beyond the arc. He hit 4 threes. You'd like to see him shoot a little bit better than that, but ultimately, I thought he was well. He was aggressive. He was, making. He was doing okay. Nothing spectacular, but he was doing okay. 19 points in total. Charlie Brown, love the edge that guy plays with. He had 15, but the Jaden Springer situation, Jaden Springer situation. I get nervous, especially in the second half of the game. He was being aggressive. He was attacking the rim, but I haven't seen any improvement on that jump shot. I certainly did not see any improvement on his handle. The aggression is there. On both ends of the court, the aggression is there. But I thought something that was really interesting was they drew up a play for him, the last play the Sixers had offensively, and he turned the ball over. They basically looked like they were trying to ISO him on the right wing. Then Charlie Brown came up and tried to set a pick for him. He goes the opposite side of the pick, which was the proper play. I think he would have been forcing it to the other side. And he ends up turning the basketball over because on the offensive side of the ball, that quickness that is there defensively is not there offensively. And certainly it's not there with the basketball in his hands. The handle still has a long way to improve. And Austin Krell is going to join us to talk about a couple of things. One, the Sixers Summer League game. Two, the Brooklyn Nets, what's going to happen with Kevin Durant. And then also, when are we going to finally be relieved of this James Harden drama now about him signing a new deal with the Sixers? How's that going to look? When is it going to happen? Austin Krell of thepaintedlines.com will be joining us momentarily to help us get a better understanding for all the things that are going on right now with the 76ers. Because when you think about James Harden, there's a couple of possibilities out there. I know most people are expecting some type of 3-year deal that's going to be backloaded, so the Sixers can have more flexibility this year. Austin Krell examined something that makes you think that the Sixers could sign a 1-year deal with James Harden for lesser money and then negotiate after next year, which is a pretty good play for James Harden. Because think about this for a second. James Harden could play on a lesser deal this year for the Sixers, giving them that flexibility, which they've used already to get PJ Tucker, for instance. But he could use that 1 year to not only help the Sixers win, but also elevate his own game to the point of having a better team around him so they can get farther in the playoffs. And if he's a big cog in the wheel of that machine, he's going to be looking pretty good next offseason. If it's not a choke job by James Harden, if he doesn't disappear in the fourth quarter, if he plays the role of facilitator, and he can show you that he can help another team win a championship, then the Sixers might not be in the long-term plans of James Harden. Maybe he signs a 1-year deal at a low price and then ends up going out there and cashing in next offseason for one last deal. Now, I would like to think that he just wants to stay in Philadelphia and, he'll do this year and then, take, maybe a 2 or 3 year deal next year, which still I wouldn't be crazy about. But if they show that they can win together, then yes, you're going to try to keep that going as long as possible. But if he's also going to look to cash in and make up the money that he might be losing out on this year, I think Woj was examining this yesterday as well, then the Sixers might have an all-in year right now. And that's certainly what it's amounting to. You go and get PJ Tucker at 37 years old, give him $33 million over 3 years. And yeah, it's a win now move. But it could be win right now and not even, all right, let's give this a year and then see how it goes next year as far as James Harden is considering. So in other words, James Harden could be looking at this as, okay, let me not cash in now with the Sixers as far as money goes. Let me cash in as far as a chance to win goes. And then after that, I'll see how far I can help take this team and then maybe cash in next offseason. Because that might come to a point then, if Tobias Harris is still here as well, that James Harden might be looking around going, well, they just can't pay me what I want to be paid and what might be my last, and most likely my last contract, my last big contract as a basketball player. Now, as I pointed out to you before, James Harden has made $227 million in his career. That's a lot of money. So especially when it's not your money and you're looking at it, that's a lot of money. I have no idea what his financial status is. I have heard of plenty of people that have not handled their money well and need to keep playing as long as possible. I'm going to go ahead and assume that James Harden is not in that category. But here's the thing. No matter how much money you have, a lot of times you just want more of it. And if James Harden is in that category, then yeah, it could very well be his last year with the Sixers, and then he could be looking to cash in elsewhere after this season. That's not a terrible business strategy. Help a team win, taking the discount price and all that stuff by winning now. LeBron James did it when he was in Miami to help pay everybody else. He's done it at other points in his career, and right now James Harden could be doing it here in Philadelphia. Kevin Durant did it when he went to the Warriors to make sure that he won, and he did. A lot of people have done it. Not a lot, but people have done it. Maybe this is that year for James Harden, and then he's going to cash in elsewhere. We'll get Austin Krell's thoughts about that coming up in just a second. But right now, let me tell you about Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. My man Mike Seibert is looking forward to setting up retirement for you by explaining to you the different phases of your financial life. Now, Mike Seibert there, retirement income. He's a retirement income certified professional at Destination Retirement, LLC, and a proud partner of 1847 Financial. He's also an advisor for Eagles, Sixers, and Phillies fans as well. When it comes to long-term savings, Mike is telling you, don't give up the current enjoyment of your income. The answer is to have income streams in retirement. So think about the different phases of your financial life, the accumulation phase and the distribution phase. Now, let's talk about college planning for a second. When you're thinking about your kid's college education, you know it's expensive, but how do you do the planning for college education, the planning for paying for that, and the planning of your own retirement? Let Mike show you an efficient way to help pay for your kid's college education and still retire on your own terms. The first step is to avoid starting your growth cycle over again by depleting accounts like 529s for big expenses like college. You don't want to lose the position on your growth cycle and have to start over. You can't get that time back. Instead, set yourself up with the ability to use vehicles that you can take money out of without starting your growth cycle over again. Find out how your annual retirement savings can help your college savings and how your college savings can help your annual retirement savings. Michael, set up your own portal and retirement analyzer, then use the software to help you navigate through the different phases of your financial life. For questions or to set up a meeting with Mike, you can email him at gobirds@1847financial.com or call his office at 484-275 6035. That's 484-275-6035. You can also visit his website at destinationretirement.com. And as always, go Birds and let's go Phillies. How about Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row? For over 40 years, Steven Singer has been in the love business in Philadelphia, helping people in Philadelphia get engaged with a beautiful, dazzling diamond ring. Steven's been doing this, and now he has Ready for Love diamond engagement rings. So if you've met the perfect person, if you have met your match, your soulmate, walk into the other corner of 8th and Walnut and let Steven Singer and his incredible team of jewelry experts help you pick out the perfect engagement ring. Ready for Love's diamond engagement rings are standing by at the ready. And someone is standing by as well to give you two things. One, make you feel like a family. The other, to give you the perfect price. And that's what Steven Singer always guarantees, the perfect price guarantee. Some people, some other jewelers like to mark things way up just to mark it down a couple of bucks. Oh, you're a good negotiator. You really got me. Yeah. Guess what? They're still making out on the deal. You know why? They've marked up prices so high that they can afford to knock it off a couple of bucks. So you don't have to worry about it. Steven Singer Jewelers, if the person next to you is paying less than you, they're a great negotiator. No, they're getting the perfect price as well. So it's no hassle, no haggle shopping. You can sit, relax, and know you're getting taken care of with the perfect price. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price every single day. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line and talk to first-time guest of the Farzy Show, Austin Krell, as he joins us to talk all things 76ers. Joining us right now, the Rothman Orthopedics guest line, Sixers writer from thepaintedlines.com, Mr. Austin Krell joins us for the first time on the Farzy Show. What's going on, Austin? How you doing?
Nope. Not bad, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So were they running a play for Jaden Springer at the end there? What was going on in that Summer League loss to the Utah League there to the Memphis Grizzlies?
It looked like your typical Sixers, ATO play at the end of the game, ended up in a turnover. So
the Doc Rivers special, I believe.
Would you ask me a question?
Yeah, I know. Right. Exactly. Overall, I mean, Paul Reed really didn't surprise me much. He played great. I mean, we're talking about a former G League or at least a one-time G League MVP, but the guy I was watching like a hawk tonight was that Jaden Springer. Definitely aggressive. Defense looked like it improved from the last time we had seen him, but I would characterize it in many situations as trying to do a little too much, and handle needs a great deal of improving. What did you take away from Jaden Springer tonight, or last night, rather?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to look at a barometer of like where his developmental arc is, look at his jump shot from last season or from the last Summer League to this Summer League. It looked like he was shooting a bowling ball last Summer League, and it was like very discouraging that it looked like he was trying to shot put that. And now, I mean, he didn't go to it much last night. It was mostly him trying to get to the rim, getting stripped while doing it, but his jumper looked a little more fluid, I thought. He needs to get a lot stronger with the ball in his hand, like just point blank. That's really what it comes down to. Not even close to an NBA-ready offensive product yet. But defensively, I mean, he's about as stout as – I mean, he was maybe one of the best defensive player in that game. I mean, he looks unassuming because he's kind of small and doesn't really have the vertical height that defenders typically have, so people want to pick on him. But then you get him in front of you, and you're like, wait a minute, I can't move him. He's beating me to every spot. and I'm getting exhausted trying to figure this out. And then he turns you over. So, I mean, he was great on defense, but offensively, a long way to go.
Now, look, it's one game of the summer league, and then there's still off season after this. So, like, I get it. I just want to set the stage. I'm not raining on anyone's parade after one summer league game. But is the overall assumption that he has to have a really great summer league in order to come close at all to even solidifying a spot on the NBA rotation, or is he most likely a G League guy again next year?
Well, the great thing is that whenever you ask the Sixers about that, it's that every guy that they have is going to be a big contributor for them next year. So they're going to have 15 guys in the rotation. We'll see how that goes. But I mean, I think if I had to put my money on it, he's not in the NBA rotation this season. I just think that, he has some foundational skills, but the game on both ends is just not there for him yet. And he looks quite frankly lost at times on offense. So
I'll tell you one guy that did stand out to me, and he was definitely showing no fear in this game, was Isaiah Joe. It seemed like anytime he had an opportunity to shoot something from beyond the arc, he did it. He shot, I think, 33% for the game overall. But when it came to like running off a screen, I think it was in the second quarter on an inbounds play, it was all fluid stroke, and he looked like a guy that was really trying to prove himself in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a guy there that, sees he doesn't have guaranteed money on his deal this year. So maybe he thinks, like, this is my chance, and if I don't show out, this could be, nice to have you. Good luck with everything. I mean, I think it's an outside chance that he cracks the rotation as well, just because his shot isn't consistent enough. So he was trying to sort of find his touch there. And I mean, he made a couple shots, but I think, by and large, they need him to fill it up a lot more than he showed tonight.
Gotcha. Now, in the time I've been asking you about a 76ers Summer League basketball game, I don't think James Harden is signed yet. What the hell's happening there, Austin? What's going on?
It sounds like they had a great time at the party over the weekend. I was thinking that the idea was to get him very intoxicated and then get him to sign a veteran minimum deal, because then you still have a max contract or spot open. You'd be like, well, sign the contract. It's on paper. We got you now. I think that according to Woj this morning, they're looking to get consummated deal in the next 24 hours. And so, that means that by Tuesday, you would think that something is done there. It wouldn't shock me right now if the idea is to get him to sign like something like a 1-year deal and then a player option, just because I think realistically, like, he wants to prove that he still is that player. And he thinks maybe if I can get it on a 1-year deal and prove that I'm that guy, I can opt out and get more money after next season. By the way, they could trade Tobias Harris at the trade deadline because they'll only have a year and a half left. Suddenly, it's not that unpalatable to give Harden a big extension if he shows that he can be the guy he once was. So I think maybe there's a chance that there is a 1+1 there. Like everyone says, a 3-year deal. We'll see. But right now, it just kind of seems like they're waiting out some of the stuff around the league. It doesn't help that Kevin Durant is requesting a trade out of Brooklyn, and everyone's kind of watching that and waiting.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes. But I would like him to sign soon so I can go back to sleeping at night instead of having to watch my Twitter feed every 2 minutes.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I get it. I do enjoy that word consummate, by the way. That's a fun one. When it comes to the Harden deal, is it a possibility that he does that 1-year deal with the Sixers, has that prove-it year, has a chance to maybe win a championship here, and then goes elsewhere after 1 year? Or do you think that he is really looking to stay here in Philadelphia with Daryl Morey and Joel Embiid and whatever they build around him in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a chance that he does stay. And honestly, like, people want to talk about to give up assets to get him in a trade. I really think that him staying, and opting out it's a unique opportunity for the Sixers, in that, let's say he looks like a shell of himself still and it doesn't go well. Okay, you cut your losses, you go separate directions, and you go play the free agent market next summer. You're not married to the guy long term yet. So if it does go well, great. By the way, the salary cap goes to spike a couple of years because of the TV deal that's coming up. So he'll get a chunk of the salary cap if all goes well, and he'll be here for a couple more years. But if not, I don't think there's a lot of harm done. You still have a lot. You have flexibility if he decides to walk. We'll see how it goes. But I do think the guy we saw last year, jump shot was short a lot of the time. To me, that means the legs weren't right, which maybe the hamstring was a problem, maybe the conditioning was a problem. By all accounts, he has been, trying to get in the gym early this summer and has been working on his conditioning. So that's all promising stuff. But as we've seen in Philadelphia, workout videos do not mean much.
Very true. I have more confidence, though, in Tyrese Maxey actually incorporating more of a three-point game because I've seen him shoot quite a number of threes, of course, through his NBA career to this point, albeit just 2 years. Speaking with Austin Krell, Sixers writer of thepaintedlines.com, there's his information for the people watching the show. For the people on the podcast, I'm showing his Twitter avatar and profile, so you can follow him right there. At NBA Krell, Krell. When it comes to the Kevin Durant stories, when it comes to the Kyrie Irving stories and all that stuff, do you think both stay? Do you think Kevin Durant's just the one out? Do you think Ben Simmons leaves Brooklyn? What do you think happens when the dust settles in Brooklyn?
It's definitely a situation that I do not envy having to, I'm fortunate to cover the Sixers and not the Nets. That would be kind of tough to cover the Nets because you're like, does my life explode now? Do I have a job at the end of all this? Like, does everyone have a job at the end of all this? I think it's crazy because like before Ben Simmons has even taken the floor for the Brooklyn Nets, this happens. This whole Kevin Durant thing transpires, and the two of the teams involved, Phoenix and Miami, ostensibly, they have Bam Adebayo, they have Tyler Hero, they have DeAndre Ayton. Well, DeAndre Ayton and Tyler Hero haven't even signed their rookie extensions yet. Those could be up to 5 years, and Adebayo already has a 5-year deal. So there are clauses in the CBA that say, hey, you can't have two guys on your roster that are your designated rookie extensions of 5 years acquired via trade. So if they do say finally, you know what, we've had enough of this mess, we'll take, we'll go to the Heat or we'll go to the Suns and say, we're willing to take this, this, and this. They got to trade Ben Simmons first. So right. This is a nightmare. This is night sweat central. I don't envy anyone in this position. But I mean, this is what you sign up for when you say, I'm going to take on Kyrie Irving, I'm going to take on Kevin Durant, and let them become, basically the brains and the play on the court, behind the team. It's a crazy situation for sure. Is
it possible to trade Ben Simmons in that same deal that would bring Bam Adebayo possibly to Brooklyn, or does he have to be physically traded and not part of this trade?
He can be a part of the deal. Like, you could see something like Brian Windhorst says a 3-team deal is a no-team deal. That, I mean, I think we see those often enough where it's like, I don't really understand what that talking point is. It would, it could be a trade that involves like 5 different teams. Who knows at this point? All I know is that is one heck of a transaction to conjure up. And that's going to be quite a storyline to watch, but it is very peak Ben Simmons-y to put his team in a conundrum like this before he even takes the floor.
It's funny that in his time leaving Philadelphia to his time supposedly being about to play for the Nets have become the toxic bleep show of an environment, while the Sixers look like things are settling in nicely.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought 2 years ago, like, that the Nets situation ends up like this? Like, I say this to my friends now. I'm like, when the Nets first formed themselves, and it was Kyrie, it was Kevin Durant, it was before the Harden trade, you thought to yourself, the only thing that could maybe derail this team is like a global disaster, like a pandemic, and that's exactly what happened. It is crazy. I wouldn't rule out the possibility of them like trying to go for Donovan Mitchell just because they don't have their own picks for however many years because of the Harden trade. So they're going to probably try to say like, hey, it's better for us to try to stay competitive in this time frame. We don't have picks because then we're not kicking ourselves every draft when we don't have anybody to take despite winning 20 games. So, I think they might try to go for that angle. It seems like Utah's getting ready to bite the bullet and rebuild. And maybe they can put a team together that's interesting with Mitchell and whomever else.
Okay. All right. If you had to say, where does Durant end up?
Phoenix seems like the place to be. I mean,
okay.
They have draft assets. They have Mikal Bridges, and generally speaking, your superstars have they get where they want to go. So
easy enough. When it comes, you said something earlier about possibly trading Tobias Harris at the trade deadline. One of the things my audience knows is that I don't want. I mean, look, if they present themselves, fine, but I'd rather the Sixers be able to start their season with the starting five they're going to have for their foreseeable future, at least for the rest of the year. And I'd rather that deadline deal be something that helps the glue and the chemistry on the bench or something like that, the guys to fill the voids that the team will still have. There is something that concerns me, being that we have heard Brett Brown talk about different rebuilds of this team throughout the course of a single season. We've heard Doc Rivers talk about only having, 21 games with James Harden after the trade to try to get everybody on the same page. It seems like that's becoming a bigger obstacle to try to get players on the same page come playoff time. And then the minute they get bounced out earlier than people anticipated, they say, oh, well, we didn't have a lot of time together. So am I just being paranoid because we've had misfortune recently, or can the Sixers rebuild themselves after a Tobias deadline move possibly in the upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now his role is so reduced to just shooting off the catch and quick decision making, as we've tried to get him to do for how long. And so I think in that role, it is easy to kind of pick up where he left off if he is dealt at the trade deadline. And I think a deal for Tobias Harris should be multiple role players that comprise up the money that he makes. If let's say for some reason Dallas were to be interested, right? Maybe that looks like Tim Hardaway Jr. and somebody else, guys that are quick triggers from beyond the arc and have some athleticism, what have you. But you shouldn't be trying to just salary dump Tobias Harris.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Money.
All right, good. No, I'm on the same page as you, and I think we're both on the same page as the Sixers, and that's a good page to be on as far as just not salary dumping to salary dump. Do you think Matisse Thybulle's played his last game as a 76er, or do you think they're going to bring him back for next year?
I do. I think if they were taking truth serum, they would probably say we're trying to trade him. And I do think that there is somewhat of a limited market for him, or evidenced by the fact that he hasn't gone yet. But I mean, I think when push comes to shove, your goal should be making Joel's life as easy as possible on offense. And it is not easy when you have Thybulle's defender halfway down the middle of the court because he doesn't trust Thybulle to take a shot. Mm-hmm. And so, I think, maybe the vaccine thing kind of hurt his perception. It definitely made him less confident because he couldn't find a rhythm in the Miami series after he missed half the Toronto series. So, I do think they'll try to move on from him. And, that could be part of an Eric Gordon trade like we've heard. But it really comes down to where things go with the Durant thing. I think once the Durant thing comes to a head, or there's any kind of conclusion on a timeline for this summer, at least, we're going to see teams start making more deals, however small or large they may be.
All right. What can we expect from Tyrese Maxey in terms of improvement? Obviously, from year 1 to year 2 is a giant leap. From year 2 to year 3, what do you expect to see from Tyrese Maxey?
Usually the sophomore year is the hardest year. When you have a big jump like that from a young player. Nothing he did last year made me believe there's any reason to doubt that he can take another jump. I mean, the dude shot plus 13% or 10% from three, a second year in the league. He was consistently taking over game in the second half and was putting on a show every night. If his work ethic is what he says it is and what what it looks like it is, there's no reason to put a cap on that guy. I mean, who's to say that if the Sixers aren't contending for a top 2 seed in the East, that he can't be an all-star?
Okay, I'm all for that. So from what it sounds like, we'll look at Joel Embiid in a perfect world. Joel Embiid will average around 30 points a game. Again, no big deal. And then possibly have Maxey in here as a 22 to 25 point per game type of guy. Is that a possibility with James Harden being more of the point guard facilitator? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Maxey's a point guard. I mean, James Harden's the very clear point guard. Mm-hmm. And the more they can get out and run in transition, which they did more so towards the end of last season, and get out and run and gun, the better off they're going to be. And I mean, I think we saw defenses were, giving Harden his respect a lot of times, and that was leaving Tyrese open for threes. I mean, earlier in the season, he was sitting in the dunker spot trying to figure out where he's supposed to be. And this guy shouldn't be in the dunker spot. He should be outside the arc. And once he figured out that he could shoot the ball a little bit, it opened up everyone's eyes. And so, I mean, if he continues on that where he was the end of last season, I certainly think he's a guy that can break into the 20 point per game, plateau and really do some damage.
I'm not going to ask you about the rest of the Eastern Conference, for instance, because there's a lot of things that could change, especially with Kevin Durant, as you alluded to earlier. But in terms of the Sixers team that ended the season last year after getting bounced out by the Heat, how much has this team now, as currently constructed, improved from what we saw last at the end of last season?
I think they're very improved. I think people look at PJ Tucker's age and they think like this guy is already 40. Like, no, he has 3 years to get to 40. It doesn't happen in 1 year. He's got to be 37 first and 38 and 39, of course. But, I think with PJ Tucker, like he addresses a need that they so desperately lacked and they were so sorely short of last year. Like having covered the Heat series, I remember thinking on a night-to-night basis, this guy is the second best player on the Miami Heat right now, and he was beating them he's beating the purportedly young Sixers to rebounds. He was creating extra possessions, diving for loose balls. His role isn't going to be that much different on offense, and I don't think there's a reason to believe that he can't repeat, what he's done the last couple of years, which is be an absolute pain in the butt on defense and stick shots in the corner. I mean that's what he does. So I think they got tougher. D'Anthony Melton adds athleticism. Daniel House is a 3-and-D wing who is fit well next to James Harden. I think there's a lot of reason to think the Sixers are one of the 3 best teams in the East. And who knows, maybe something goes better than you thought. Maybe, some other team has bad luck, whether it be injury or something just doesn't work. They could be right in the mix for a top 2 seed in the East. I think they're surpassed the Heat, and I would certainly put them in the top 3 in the East for sure.
Fantastic. Austin Krell, thepaintedlines.com. Make sure you guys are following him on Twitter right there. You can see him at NBA Krell. Make sure you look him up. Make sure you follow him. Really enjoyed the conversation, Austin. Much appreciated. And always good chopping up with you there on social media as well.
No problem, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Austin Krell joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. Always good catching up with Austin Krell. Like I said, we've been chopping it up on the old social media every once in a while. Appreciate him joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. Before we hit some sponsors and go to the chat check, there's a couple more things I did want to hit you guys with. One, I wanted to follow up because he alluded to what Woj had said about James Harden yesterday. Here is what Woj had to say on ESPN regarding the James Harden negotiations in Philadelphia.
Right now, Woj.
Well, they're not in a rush either. And I think if you saw social media this weekend, you saw James Harden, some of his teammates were having a great time out in the Hamptons and clearly just knocking out this contract and getting it done was not a priority on the holiday weekend. But it's expected to get done here, whether it's in the next 24, 48, 72 hours. James Harden sitting down with the Sixers. And just getting to a longer-term deal with them. Obviously, by opting out, he's allowed them to go out into free agency, pick up P.J. Tucker, Daniel House. And so those are players now that under the salary cap, they were able to get. They probably wouldn't have been able to get if they had had a James Harden who opted in. So the expectation is it's coming, that they'll sit down and figure out what exactly the numbers will be on that extension and how many years, but James Harden will be back in Philadelphia, as we've known really here for a few weeks.
That's the most likely scenario that he is coming back to the Sixers. Let's just get that out of the way. I do think that he does sign a multi-year deal. I don't think he signs a 1-year deal. That was just speculation, the what if type of factor. The fact that he hasn't done it yet is a matter of waiting for Kevin Durant, that shoe to drop or whatever it might be. But I ultimately think that he does sign a multi-year deal with the 76ers. The other thing is just an idea. Could it be taking a little bit longer because maybe he just wants to sign a 1-year deal on lesser money? Or is it going to be, kind of bet on himself type of situation, which is a bit of a dice roll if you're 33 years old. But the fact that he said he was going to opt in, then did it to give the team flexibility, it's an idea worth entertaining. So hopefully the next, as Woj just said, 24 hours, 36 hours, 72 hours, hopefully soon, we know the ending to this James Harden offseason. Not even drama yet. Not even going to call it drama. We'll save the drama for the Brooklyn Nets. That's the team with the drama going on. Let me tell you guys about the great people at Rothman Orthopedics. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Rothman Orthopedics, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. That's RothmanOrtho.com. You've been following us for a while on this Versus game. Download the Versus game app to your phone right now. Have yourself a good time. Answer all our questions. Right now, the question is, will Jaden Springer lead the Sixers in points per game through Sunday night at 11:59 p.m.? So far, he's got to catch up to Paul Reed, 20 points. He's also got to catch up to Isaiah Joe, 19 points. And he's got to be able to break even there with Charlie Brown. So he's tied for third most points per game on the 76ers right now. Hopefully he'll get that going and maybe avoid a couple more of those turnovers. He had 3 of them yesterday, unfortunately. And some ill-advised shots, some forces. But right now, that's the question of the Versus Game app. Download the Versus Game app to your phone right now. Follow at Farzy Show and answer always the binary questions that we throw out there. Right now, will Jaden Springer, will he lead the Sixers in points per game by Sunday night, 11:59 p.m.? Will he do that? Answer the question. Versus Game app. Have yourself a good time. How about Freestone Farm CBD, ladies and gentlemen? You like CBD? You use CBD? How would you like a 20% off your CBD? Go to FreestoneFarmCBD.com right now. Check out their incredible strain menu. Fantastic. FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Promo code Farzy for 20% off. You'll enjoy their insane tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%. And Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. The genetics of these guys, they don't get any better. And they grow all their premium hemp flower in the Garden State with all organic inputs and IPM. There's absolutely nothing synthetic from farm to jar. Just one look or smell will be enough to let you know it's CBD done right. And it's a great product for anyone that's looking to take a more natural approach to everything that they put in their body. Oh, did I mention 20% off? You get 20% off when you use promo code Farzy at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. That's FreestoneFarmCBD.com, promo code Farzy. How about PHL Sports Station? Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsStation.com. Let's jump on into the chat check, see how you guys are doing. Kevin, good morning. April, Mickey, Sean Gillespie, what's going on? Tyvita, how are you? Nice to see you. T-Bro! T-Bro's in the chat. What's going on, T-Bro? Tyvita, I got you. Mike Fuji, what's going on? Jim Grassmeter, good morning. Let's see what we have in the conversation today. Mickey Diaz, happy hump day to you. Mr. Fuji, happy hump day to you as well. Mickey Diaz, go Phillies, huge 11-0 win, and got a third wild card spot. That's correct. Right now, that's where they at. Now, the Cardinals. The Cardinals have a tough stretch here. They got the 4 games against the Braves. They've dropped the first 2. Then the Philadelphia Phillies are going to be taking on those same St. Louis Cardinals that the Phillies just took 2 games out of 3 against them at Citizens Bank Park. So the Phillies then have to travel to St. Louis to take on these Cardinals for 4 games. Still a huge, huge ending run of the first half of the season. It's going to be a wild ride for the wild card race. That's what we're looking at right now. But yes, the Phillies occupy the third wild card spot and final wild card spot along with the St. Louis Cardinals. Hopefully they put some space between them and the Cardinals going into the second half of the year. Mickey, yes, I have the Twitter exchange, at least some of it, between the Phillies and the Nationals. I'll get into that a little bit later in our Morning Rush segment. April, I hate the MLB ticket. I hate that MLB ticket considers the Nats my home team based off locations. I always miss these games, and they are normally so good. So, yeah, I think you guys get into this. I think I glanced at this and saw this. I've been using the My Teams app. Like when I was down in Maryland, Ellicott City specifically, I was able to mirror the game from my phone to the TV. And like I said, my brother and my sister-in-law all became huge Phillies fans over the weekend. I give them a lot of credit for that. But yeah, that blackouts suck. Usually when I say that, it's about something else. Tyvita, Tyvita, yeah, April's from up this way. There you go. April and I went to school together at Temple. I later crossed paths at WIP as well. Go figure. Yeah, T-Bro, you're the one that said use the My Teams app. Yeah, April pays for the MLB TV. Oh, there you go, T-Bro. You get to watch every year you're traveling for work. That works out. Like I said, I had trouble with the My Teams app previously. But this time I did not have an issue with it. I'm going to try to use it. I'm going to be up in New York this weekend. One of my cousins is getting married. A little south of Sleepy Hollow, north of the city, south of Sleepy Hollow. My wife's actually a huge Halloween fan. Her birthday's around Halloween, so she's like, "Oh, Sleepy Hollow, Headless Horseman." I'm like, "We can drive up. It's like 20 minutes north of our hotel. We can party. We know how to party. All right. You go to Sleepy Hollow in July when it's real fall-like." Sean Gillespie, Ben Simmons, the star of the Nets. Unbelievably funny. It is funny. And, there's not too many people I root against or wish bad things upon. But I will just say this. I'm really hoping it doesn't work out for Ben Simmons in New York. I'm really hoping that Brooklyn, it just doesn't work out. And yesterday, somebody pointed out to me after the show about Bam Adebayo, about possibly trading Kevin Durant to the Heat, how the Heat could offer a better package than the Suns, and I still think that. But yes, you can't have I forgot the actual verbiage, but it's like you can't have a player on his extended rookie deal. You can't have two of those guys on the same roster. So in essence, you can't trade Ben Simmons, you can't trade for Bam Adebayo because that would put Bam on the same deal that Ben Simmons is on. You can't have two of those same contracts on the same team via trade. So you could trade Ben for Bam. And that would hurt my heart if you traded Ben along with Kevin Durant to Miami, which I think, oh my God, Ben Simmons as a member of the Miami Heat, if people thought he only loved what basketball brought him and not basketball itself, wait till he gets to Miami. He would be like, how there's I forget who did the study, but like basketball players perform terribly when they're on the road in Miami. It'd be like Ben Simmons performing terribly all the time. Like his defense would even go out the window. Jim Grassman, I know this is strange to say, but how valuable has Matt Vierling been? Playing multiple positions pretty well. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Matt Vierling's been valuable. He's one of the depth guys. I mean, look, he won you a game basically in Milwaukee. Like, hell yeah, Matt Vierling's been valuable. I was laughing the other day. They put him, when they shuffled the lineup in the last game against the Cardinals, I think it was, the last game against the Cardinals, Vierling went from, anytime you can go from left field to second base is incredible. And that's what they did with them. And how about Mickey Moniak's catch in center field last night? Almost doubled the guy off Robles off second base with a great sliding grab that he made in center field. Tracking that ball down well. But yeah, Matt Vierling has been wonderfully valuable. Those are the words I'm trying to say out loud. Philly Mike, if the Phillies can keep winning while Segura and Harper are out, then we might actually have a chance. Yeah, you know what? I got into this. I forget who I was talking about this yesterday. But as much as I like Bryce and Stott, he's batting 187 with a 262 on base percentage. So if you take him, now he'll probably stay in the lineup depending on what goes on with Didi Gregorius. But Vierling at second base or Stott at second base, like you're still talking about guys that aren't doing a great deal of hitting. And Jean Segura can be a 300 hitter. Jean Segura can be a 275, 300 hitter, hit with some pop as well, and play a decent second base. So that's an upgrade, bottom line. So between now and the end of the season, the Phillies stay in this wild card hunt, and right now they're in that wild card, sharing it with the Cardinals. If they stay in this hunt, think of it as getting, oh my God, you're going to get Jean Segura back? Oh, well, hold on a second. You're going to get Bryce Harper back? I mean, think how much better they could be. It's pretty incredible. Now, the difference might not be ginormous if everybody else keeps hitting. If Darick Hall keeps on matching a 3-hit night last night, yeah. And by the way, none of them home runs. So showing some versatility, hitting for average, not just power. Although he just missed that home run by like a foot yesterday in the dead center field. It'll still be a huge difference in the lineup regardless. So yeah, that's one of the things I'll be looking at. But yeah, it's a good point there, talking about just Jean Segura, Philly Mike, and what he could bring to the table. April, checking out the app now. We'll let you guys know. Oh yes, please do. Please do. Download the My Teams app. Make sure you follow your Philly teams. Jim Grassmeter, I'm sure Jimmy Butler would just love to play with Ben again. That's even better. Could you imagine Ben Simmons down in Miami, distracted by all the Miami nightlife, and then he's going to show up to work and look at Jimmy Butler in the face? That'd be a good time. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are fantastic, as per usual. Let's get to our morning rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Phillies and Nationals playing again tonight after the 11-0 shutout. Back-to-back shutout wins for the Phillies, by the way, for the first time in 2 seasons, I believe. And there's one stat, in case you missed it during last night's ball game. There's one stat regarding Kyle Schwarber that I wanted to make sure I gave you guys. They showed this in last night's post-game interview. Kyle Schwarber, 25th home run this season in his 79th game. It's the fewest games played to 25 home runs by a Phillies player since 2009. Raul Ibanez. Raul Ibanez in that ridiculously hot start he got. I mean, the all-star team in his first year taking over for Pat Burrell in left field. He did it in 73 games. That's pretty damn impressive. But Kyle Schwarber, 25th home run in his 79th game this season. It's the fewest games in over a decade. Almost a decade and a half that a Phillies player has done that. That's how red hot Kyle Schwarber is. 7:05 start time. I know I'm an old man yelling at a cloud when I say this, but God, I love those 6:45 start times. But 7:05 tonight, Aaron Nola against Josiah Gray. Nola 5-5 on the season with 3.13 ERA, 17 strikeouts in 103 and 2/3 innings pitched. He's only issued 14 walks. Now, Josiah Gray on the other side, right-handed pitcher for the Nationals. He has walked 35 batters. He's 6-5 on the season with a 4.22 ERA. And the Phillies will hope they can keep their bats alive and well against them. They had their struggles against Josiah Gray the last time they faced him, and that was in D.C. It was that 2-1 game that went into 10 innings. He went 6 innings, 6 scoreless innings against the Phillies, allowing just 1 hit in that game. So hopefully the Phillies can improve to 6-3 without Bryce Harper in the lineup tonight against Josiah Gray and the Washington Nationals. Speaking of the Nationals, yes, it was a very funny Twitter exchange last night, especially after Kyle Schwarber hit his first home run against the Nationals, his first of 2 in last night's ball game. After the first one, the Nationals tweeted out, as I said earlier, Kyle, it's not even June anymore. To which the Phillies respond, it's June 35th. What do you mean? Good back and forth there. And then this was great. After the score went final, I still love a good meme, ladies and gentlemen. In this TikTok world we live in, still love a good meme. And here is the meme that the Washington Nationals put out last night. Check this out. Phillies 11, Nationals zip, with the scene from Mean Girls, where she asked the cute boy in front of her. Lindsay Lohan asked that guy in front of her. She turns around and says, "Hey, what's today's date?" Well, here you go. On July 5th, he asked me what day it was. It's June 35th, with Kyle Schwarber's face over Lindsay Lohan. Excuse me. Social media is fun. That's for sure. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. You guys are fantastic. Much appreciated. Let's get another Phillies win tonight, and let's see if by tomorrow we know whether or not James Harden has signed a deal with the 76ers, a multi-year deal with the 76ers, and we get a better understanding of the Sixers' outlook for the upcoming season. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Jim Hyder produced the program, did a hell of a job. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com, coming to you from the Steven Singer Studios. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take it easy.